I get comments all the time from men who own the G-Shock Mudmaster GWG-B1000, and they are dadgum proud owners of this Master of G watch. Premium in every way, metal in so many places, durable and highly functional. I'm going to go over the reasons why, for many guys, this is an exit watch. The Mudmaster is the one that after you get it, you have no need or desire for another watch. And first reason is the cost. $800 retail, okay? And so, you know, you guys know me, but for those of you who don't, my name is Jim Kincaid. I run a 3-figure YouTube business reviewing G-Shock watches. You know, I'm a Christian entrepreneur. This is a 3-figure watch. And unfortunately, the 3 figures of this watch, which are 8, 0, and 0, exceed the figures of my business, you know, which is less. So, the purchasing of watches has stalled, okay? So, as you can see, I have a bunch of them. But, you know, a lot of these are not cheap, right? But they are not as expensive as the Mudmaster, okay? And so, since buying the Mudmaster, I have not been able to purchase another watch, okay? And so, is it worth it? I've determined that yes, this is a premium watch. You can't really tell by looking at pictures of it online. But as I explained when I compared the Mudmaster to the Gravity Master, and where is the Gravity Master? We gotta go through all these watches and see if I can find that Gravity Master. I think I see it with its red details. But anyways, like I said in the other video, you look at these two anti-digi watches online. Actually, Gravity Master is not digi. You look at these two analog G-Shock watches online, you may think, they're so similar. Why is the Mudmaster $800 and then the Gravity Master, you know, around $300? Sometimes you can catch this one on sale. Well, it's the quality. The quality of the Mudmaster is top-notch, and some guys, you know, they get G-Shock watches for the durability. Well, that's not a G-Shock. But, you know, they get the G-Shock watch. Let's just use the Rangeman GW9400. And as durable and nice it is, you just want those premium touches. For example, these buttons on the GW9400, they have this diamond-plated steel look. Well, they are not steel. They are plastic, okay? And, you know, the tip of this Right in the Rain metal readiness pen is metal, but, you know, you guys see this? Any scratches? I mean, you can just tell they're plastic. Now, the buttons on this Mudmaster are shrouded in metal, okay? This bezel is metal. The dogs that hold down the bezel are metal, okay? And at first I thought these actual buttons were plastic, but a commenter clued me in. He said that G-Shock High Fashion took his apart and determined that they were actually metal. And I should probably determine that myself too, with some abuse right here. I got my Leatherman Arc with a Magna Cut steel blade. And as you know, iron sharpens iron, so we should have no problem scratching these buttons if they are plastic. And as you see, I'm scratching it, but just the finish. Well, I was told by a commenter these buttons are plastic or metal. So the way they are scratching to me looks like metal. Doesn't look like plastic. Just for reference, the Mudman has metal shrouds but plastic buttons. So let's see if this Magna Cut, it does here. And yes, this, to me, definitely feels like plastic. Very soft plastic buttons. They aren't bad buttons at all. This is the Mudman. I love this watch, right? But we're talking about what the buttons are made out of. And this, to me, even though it's scratching up, it looks like it's revealing metal underneath. Okay? Oh, you know what? I have, over here, I have this cigar lighter that I think has the perfect tool for testing buttons. See what they're made out of. See what happens. Well, you can hear it press. Yeah. Well, another thing is that plastic melts, right? So, oh, you know what? I think we're out of butane. You guys are going to have to tune into another video when we actually test it with fire. But I'm pretty sure that these are metal. Commenters have told me that the buttons are metal. And I scratched up this button, and it looks like, after scratching the surface, that there's metal underneath. All right, but obviously the shrouds are metal. Other features of the watch that I mentioned are actually metal. And it has a chiseled look, okay? So look at my tool chest here and see if I can find a chisel. Maybe in my work truck. But anyways, these features are chiseled, right? These aren't like, chamfered. They aren't like polished. Like, let me get you the ProMaster. I can show you what I mean. I have a Citizen watch, a ProMaster Land, the U822. But you see how all this, the metal, it's a metal case and metal bezel. It's all soft, it's all polished, it's all nice and, aerodynamic, etc. Well, not so on the Mudmaster. On the Mudmaster, these edges are chiseled. They all come to a point, okay? The dogs too, and the dogs are what I call, or this feature that I call what holds down the bezel. It comes from a vacuum truck. Or even on a ship, you have those hatches that are held down by dogs. That's what we call them. But it's all chiseled. It's all fine quality. And yes, this is plastic right here. So G-Shock watches, very often the case will be plastic. And the reason is for its shock resistance and lightness, okay? It's weight. So it's light. These sides are, as you can see how they're all scratched up. These are not metal. To be really careful with my knife and cut away from me. You can see how, yeah, that's plastic, right? But the dog, not. I mean, this Magna Cut steel blade from this really expensive Leatherman. This is a Leatherman Arc, $230. At the time I bought it, I made a video about it. Just kind of mogging you guys financially, saying that you'll never afford it. You're all too poor. Because everybody was complaining about how much it cost. Well, they actually raised the price. That's what I heard. A commenter told me it costs more now. But anyways, the Mudmaster has premium features. The band is a premium band. Very thick, very durable. The keeper is metal, which comfort-wise I'm not a big fan of. But style-wise, you cannot argue with that. The look of that metal keeper is something else. Double tang buckle, metal, just premium quality, premium features. Well, premium components, all right? And then the next thing we talk about is the features, right? So we talk about a G-Shock watch. You get a plain G-Shock watch, no frills, like, let me find my GA2100. I got this GA2100. It's not displaying the correct time now. I think the hands need to be aligned. But this watch, basic watch, tells the time, is a stopwatch, timer, some of the basic Casio watch functions, right? And it only costs $100, right? And then you go up to the next level of watches, and you're gonna get watches that, oh no, my Mudman is low on batteries. Wow, okay. Well, I have another one. So you go up to another level of watches and you get the ABC sensors, the compass, barometer, altimeter, useful functions for an outdoorsman. If you play or work outside, that these are good functions to have. And they've been a standard on a lot of Casio, G-Shock, ProTrek watches for some time. When you're talking about that next level of functionality, okay? And obviously it costs a little bit more. And so the Mudmaster has those functions. That's the sensor right there. And you have the altimeter, barometer, and the barometer doesn't have its own button. We'll go back to the main time, and we'll press this button once. Now we're at the barometer, all right? And go back to the main time. I guess I don't need to, but there's a compass, and the advantage of having that analog watch face is that the seconds hand is now a compass. And altimeter, barometer, compass, and there's a thermometer there too, which I believe is on the barometer screen. Actually, where is the thermometer on this one? There we go, temp. It says it's 84.4 degrees. I'm sweating a lot. I mean, this temperature is probably going to go up as this video goes on, and I'm going to be sweating a lot. But anyways, this is a feature-filled watch, okay? And this Mudmaster takes features up to one extra level above just your standard ABC watch, because this has Bluetooth functionality, okay? And this Bluetooth functionality, you connect it to your phone, and now the altimeter, barometer, and compass, those features have additional level of functionality using your phone's GPS, okay? So this is kind of like like a breakaway device from your phone that if you were hiking, you would not need to take the phone out of your backpack, okay? Because you can press a button to save a waypoint, and then the watch could tell you how to return to it with the subdial. You can activate a mission log, which will record your journey. So on top of the ABC functions, you have GPS functions from your phone in the Casio Watches app that work with your Mudmaster GWG-B1000 to give you even more functionality, okay? So wouldn't say that this is a smartwatch, but it does have some smartwatch style functions in the sense that with your phone, you have access to more features, okay? So that sets it above really any other master of G-Shock watch, because, you know, you have some of these that, well, this is the GBDH-2000. Looks like it needs to be charged. Well, here's the body of the GPRH-1000. But this one, which is in power saving mode, let me remove it from power saving mode, enter it back into full functionality. So this watch does have more features because it does have a GPS built in, okay? But it has to be charged. As you can see, the GBDH-2000 is dead and it has to be charged, right? GPRH-1000, you want to use the GPS, it has to be charged. You want to use the heart rate monitor, it has to be charged. All right, Mudmaster, tough solar. It is charged by the sun, okay? So the whole dial has solar panels. They're kind of integrated in the design of the watch face, but you go out in the sun, you will have plenty of batteries. And let me show you what my battery level is at by scrolling through all the modes to get to the main time. Boom, it's at high. See how it pointed to the H and then back to the red triangle? Notice how the dial has H, well, the seconds hand is in the way, M, and then this yellow warning track for low battery. All right? So the advantage of this, it's kind of a trade-off. In terms of functionality, you get a little bit less than, you know, the GBDH-2000 or the GPRH-1000, but you never have to charge this one if you get outside enough and get enough sunlight on it, right? So that's a pretty cool feature, and I like that. All right, so you just slap it on your wrist. Don't ever have to worry about charging. Oh, and by the way, look at that case back. This is chiseled too. It has a lot of really cool angles. It's not just like a regular old flat case back that looks like a steel grate that they throw over holes in the floor. You know, like this is the Gravity Master. It has 4 screws on a steel plate. This one I don't see where the screws are. Maybe they're hiding under the wings. I don't know, but you have that nice back. I just wanted to show you guys that. It's a nice little touch because I was saying earlier how premium the details are of this watch. Just wanted to show you that. And there's a dial. There's a screw down dial. Now, just between me and you, I think that this whole screwing down is kind of a charade. A lot of guys who like the dials like when you screw it down, but you know, you can set the time and set the alarms with that dial and set, I think, the time zone you're reading. So there's a little dial here. You got to unscrew it, and then you can turn it to change things. And as you can see, I'm like grinding up my fingernail trying to get it off. But you unscrew it, and then you pull it out. So now it wants me to change my time zone. Right now I'm in the central time zone, so let me just show you how it works. So I'm just changing time zone. It's showing me the different times. Shout out to everybody in Brazil. How are you gentlemen doing down there in Brazil? Currently, it is 10 past 2 over there, I guess. But see how I pushed it in, and now it thinks that I am in Brazil. So, buenos. Is that how you say hello in Brazil? I actually don't know. I might have embarrassed myself by my poor Portuguese, so you guys will have to correct me. But anyways, that's pretty cool. I think, you know, having a dial, like I said, the having to unscrew it's kind of a charade. A little bit annoying, like if you really want to set something quickly. However, with the Bluetooth, if you use the Bluetooth functionality, you know, you could change the alarms and the time with the app. So the question I know that some of you have is, do you have to have the app? Now, you know, I've made a lot of videos about using various watches without the app at all. And in general, yes, you don't need to use the app. So if you wanted to use the Mudmaster as a standalone watch, you could. And I think that that's a big selling point. Because a lot of guys who are still buying G-Shocks and who are still interested in G-Shocks like that standalone feature, okay? Like the Mudman, it has no Bluetooth functionality at all. You don't have to ever worry about Bluetooth. And some people will say, what's the big deal? I get comments a lot. People are like, what's the big deal with Bluetooth? Well, I'll make other videos about why you wouldn't want Bluetooth on the watch. Number one, you get tracked, you get surveilled. You know, you have to agree to all these terms of service. You have to give your email to the app in order to use the Bluetooth. And at that point, you know, you're fingerprinted. This is like a fingerprint now after you hook it up with the Bluetooth, because you have to provide an email, you have to use your phone, all other things like that. In a lot of environments, you're not allowed to use Bluetooth devices at all, like the military. So, I mean, that says a lot. And, you know, there's a lot of spurious, you know, radio emissions, you know, that it could try to connect to Bluetooth and betray your position if it's broadcasting radio signals. Anyways, that's a different subject for a different day. And in terms of how much Bluetooth radiation these emit, I do have a tester, all right? So in an upcoming video, we'll test these watches that have Bluetooth to see exactly how much Bluetooth radio frequency they emit, all right? Because this device, this Kaiweets device, it will show you, you know, whether it's safe or not. And let me just show you as an example. This is my microphone I'm using now. You can see like the screen's turning red. It's a wireless mic. That's just an example. In an upcoming video, we will Bluetooth test all of these watches and various devices that you can know whether they are safe. Is that thing still on? It didn't shut off. Hold on. Let me shut it off. I pressed the wrong button. Now it's off. All right. Anyways, stay tuned for that one. Now, all right. So I'm talking about why this is an end-of-the-road watch for so many guys. And I've talked about the fact that it's exhausted their budget. It's premium quality that, you know, that it kind of scratches an itch that you might have to own a premium watch, but one that's very durable. You know, I just read this thing online. This guy had a Tudor watch, and he dropped it 4 feet off the counter onto the bathroom floor. And while it didn't crack, it stopped working. You know, that's not a problem you have with a G-Shock watch. You know, and so G-Shocks in general are very durable. But even among G-Shocks, you have some that are more durable than others. And in my testing, the Mudman has been a super durable watch. Really amazing how well this one holds up. And part of the reason is these plastic wings. It really adds a lot of durability to the corners because, you know, it's the pins that always pop on me on watches. I've lost a lot of watches from, you know, like pins popping out and the band coming apart and the watch falls off. I don't even realize it. And G-Shocks in general with these nested lugs are obviously better in terms of the pins not popping out and the band not falling off. But these plastic wings really bring that security to the next level, okay? And so the Mudmaster does have plastic wings, and they are more comfortable than plastic wings on other G-Shock watches and Casio watches. Like, let me just give you as an example, where is it? It's so many watches around here. Someone tell me where that Pro Trek is that I just had a minute ago. Here it is. So these wings are terrible, all right? If you have arm hair, you know, you're going to hate the PRW 3500. So, you know, I don't have a ton of arm hair, but enough that very annoying, and this band is not long on this PRW 3500. Nonetheless, this is a really cool watch. Guys love it, and it's a good one to have. I mean, if you want to replace the band, you'll have an even better watch. You know, like if you put a NATO strap or a fabric band on it, it's a terrific watch. I've made some videos on this one. I'm going to make a few more because it's just such a fantastic watch, and it's still available in a lot of places. But anyways, the wings are bad. I do not like the wings. And so the Mudmaster does have wings, and these are not that bad in terms of pinching, all right? And they aren't that bad in terms of like feeling like you're wearing like, you know, like football pads, you know, or like you're not wearing like a gauntlet or armor. Like when you're wearing the Mudman, these plastic wings are, you know, like you definitely feel it. You know, it takes some getting used to. So the trade-off with a Mudman is that very tough, but can feel kind of, you know, encumbered by the plastic wings. Like you definitely feel it's there, right? Like I swear my wrist is smaller now because of Mudman, like clamping down on it, just like shrank the size of my wrist. My right wrist is bigger now. And so the Mudmaster has the plastic wings for durability, but you can see that the shape and the size, they're not nearly as obtrusive, but they still offer a lot of protection for keeping those lug bolts secured into that center lug. Okay, now I have had problems with lug bolts coming out of soft plastic center lug, the GPR H1000 being one of them. And some of you have accused me of causing this problem. You're trying to accuse me of being responsible for my own actions, holding me accountable for what I do. That's ridiculous. Nonetheless, some of you have accused me of being dishonest about this problem. Well, I found another gentleman on YouTube who has this problem where his lug bolt screws, whatever you want to call them, have become loose, and he's documented that problem on YouTube. And he's not a watch guy. I mean, obviously he likes watches. He's a fitness guy. So I do not think that he you know, is trying to you know, jump into this controversy on my channel, because I don't think that he's specifically a watch guy. So anyways, we'll talk more about those lug bolts another time. But the point is, on the Mudmaster, we're talking about why this is an exit watch. Let's not forget about the premise of this video. I know that my videos are very chaotic, very rambling, and sometimes we can lose sight of why we clicked and why we're watching and what exactly we're listening for. Why is this the exit watch for a lot of G-Shock collectors? Well, the comfort. You know, it's the trade-off of exceptional durability and comfort, you know, among all these G-Shock watches, falls at different places. But with the Mudmaster, you do have a lot of that durability, and you have better comfort than on the Mudman. And that brings me to the next reason why the Mudmaster is an exit watch for so many guys, and that has to do with its size. This is not a gigantic Mudmaster watch. Some of the Mudmasters are very large, like the GWG-B1000, which some of you gentlemen call the war machine. Like Philip Lahell, I think that he wore his in military service to his country, right? But he has a GWG-1000, which is the previous generation of the Mudmaster. It's much bigger than the GWG-B1000. He owns both of them. He can give you a better comparison of the size and comfort. But lots of guys who have an average or even below average size wrist have found that the GWG-B1000 fits well. And that's why they love this one. I think that Kyle owns the GWG-B1000, and he's noted that, you know, he thinks it fits well, okay? And so that's a positive, you know, because like so many G-Shock watches, if you have an average or below average size wrist, you don't really like how big a watch can get, like the King. Now, the King is kind of comically sized, that, you know, you're going to buy it because it's so large. But even like some regular G-Shock watches, like we'll just say the Rangeman. Where's my Rangeman? Do you guys see it? It has scratched buttons now. Oh, here it is. You know, like this is good for average or above average size wrists, but some guys who have below average sized wrists, it's just too big, right? And so let me just hold this up next to the Mudmaster, which, man, all right, where is it? The subject of this video is the Mudmaster, and yet the Mudmaster, where did it go? Oh, here it is. Okay. Now let me find the Rangeman again, the GW90. There you go. All right. So let me move all of these other ones out of the way. You can get a good backdrop. But, all right, size comparison. Now you can see how, you know, the meatball factor, little big. Now it's not like this Mudmaster GWG-B1000 is like that much smaller than the Rangeman GW9400, but it is a little bit smaller, okay? And just the way that it wears tighter to the wrist. You have the wings in here, so this watch crotch is a little bit tightened up. You know, like look at the watch crotch on the Rangeman. Really big watch crotch. And by the way, this is a technical term. It's not meant to be a vulgarity. AI thought it was a vulgarity. It was trying to discourage me from using the term watch crotch. And I was like, well, AI, you can learn a lot from me, okay? Because watch crotch is I mean, I invented it, but it's not a vulgarity. It's a technical term. Like if you have branches on a tree that, you know, between the two of them is the crotch of a limb. You know, the area right here on your arm is the elbow crotch. Okay, I mean, it's just the way it is, all right? This is the King, by the way. So I'm not trying to say that the GWG-B1000 is a small watch. I'm just telling you that the Casio engineers have worked their magic on the GWG-B1000, this Mudmaster, and made it that it wears well on smaller wrists. And you can see that the dial is actually smaller, right? And I don't have any of the previous iterations of the Mudmaster, the GWG-1000, the GWG-2000, the GG-B100, all of the other ones, but of all the Mudmasters, I believe that this one is the smallest. It has the smallest dial, right? So if we're looking just at the diameter of the glass, all right, I guess we can measure it now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start measure from the two. just so we can adjust for parallax, because you know how tape measures, they have this, you know, useful if you're cutting lumber, not so useful if you're trying to make accurate measurements. But I'm going to put the 1 right here, and you can see that it's like, you know, what is that, 1 1/8, about? Maybe 1 1/4 inches? About 1 1/4 inches, let's say. So I mean, it's like a lot of these other watches, like if you just look at the glass, you know, like this one is well over an 1.25 inches, you know. So it's a little bit smaller. It's just enough that I guess it fits everybody, because I'm a big wrister, right? And I wear this watch on, you know, notch number 1 or 2, depending on the weather and how, you know, how much I'm sweating. Like right now I'm sweating a lot. As you can tell by the thermometer, it's like over 85 degrees. So I'd probably right now be wearing it on notch 1, okay? And so my wrist is about 8.5 inches. So for the really big wrister, it might be too small, but for a big wrister, an average size wrister, even a small wrister, it's a good watch, okay? Now my camera is about to overheat, okay? And this is a problem with this camera. I tried to give it another chance, and earlier on the video it was losing focus, and now it's about to overheat, okay? So I'm gonna have to wrap this up, maybe make a part 2. But the point is that why is this like an exit watch? Why do they love it? Well, I went over the price, the premium quality, scratches an itch, the size, talked about the size, functionality, and just that it has all the, like, the basic watch functions, maybe a little bit of smartwatch functions if you want. And I have not really talked about the fact that this has multiband 6. So I guess I'm going to discuss that. Multiband 6 is on this watch, and you can use it in conjunction with Bluetooth time sync. So both of them. You get the Bluetooth time sync and the multiband 6. I love multiband 6. So many of you do too, and we get so angry when they do not have Bluetooth on a G-Shock watch. It's like, what's the big deal? Just add it on. Who cares? If it costs a little bit more, I will pay it. But for some reason they don't, and I think it's because a lot of the markets that G-Shock is trying to tap into, like Brazil or India, do not have multiband 6 in those gigantic countries full of millions of people. Gentlemen, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father except through him. I just want to throw that in there because, like I said, I am a Christian businessman, and my business is YouTube, and I run a burgeoning 3-figure YouTube business, like I said, reviewing G-Shock watches. And don't forget about jimkincaid.com. You know, that it's like my blog, my website. I asked AI to look at the site and tell me what it thinks, and it was very critical. It pretty much was telling me the website stunk. But that's because I remember the old internet. When the internet was basic, it was so much better. You know, like, I don't get why you have to have like whiz-bang graphics all over a website. You know, it's just a website. Come on, give me a break.